So, Andreas, I'm keen to get an understanding of what trends are you seeing happening in the digital space in OEM dealer land?
Well, that's a very good question. If you consider that the automotive industry is one of the most mature industries on the planet at the moment, and we thought we've seen it all, and yet we're going through the most disruptive period probably in the history of this organization. And the digital space in particular is probably the most disruptive. It's no longer just about product, but it's all about the digitization side. And it's a very, very big question. And possibly I'm going to try and narrow it down a little bit. But I see 4 or 5 key trends here, and they're going to have major impacts on both OEM profitability as well as dealer profitability. I think the one that's sort of top of mind and on sort of hot on everybody's lips at the moment is going away from your traditional franchise model onto the agency model. And that requires, from a digitization perspective, direct sales platforms. And that the chain between consumer and OEM is sort of getting shorter and shorter and shorter. We're in the process of developing a direct sales platform, and we're very fortunate, because we're automotive guys, to understand the business processes to support a successful direct sales platform. When we benchmarked our solutions against other solutions that are available globally, we quickly identified that they clearly weren't automotive guys that wrote these solutions. So that's one of the things that I think is very important. You cannot cut and paste for our industry. That's the first thing. So the digitization has to be bespoke. It's got to be bespoke to an OEM level. You can't say, oh, this is a platform that OEMs generally can use. Sure, there's high transferability, but high customization and a competitive advantage in the digitization is where we specialize. How can we make it unique to the experience of that dealer, that OEM, and more importantly, because it's B2C now, what's the customer experience and how is that unique? So I think the new vehicle space, by direct sales platforms, that's the hot button at the moment that everybody's pushing. But I think there are a couple of things that are lurking out there that are going to have further dramatic impacts, and that's on the service and parts side. So the after-sales business, we see, will be shrinking dramatically because the number of parts required in electric vehicles in particular are dramatically different. And even if we stay within the internal combustion engine space, as technology improves, service intervals become longer, parts wear less, warranty is driven down, and so on and so on. So it doesn't matter, even if we weren't being forced into a new business model, the parts and service business as a profitability center is under major, major threat. And for OEMs as well, because a massive proportion of their total business profitability is reliant on their parts business. The other sign that we're noticing is that OEMs are starting to get more and more involved in what the traditional dealer space is. For instance, your F&I departments. So they're starting to launch their own finance products, launching their own insurance products, other value-added products. And again, this will be a threat to dealers as OEMs try and scramble around for new channels or broaden channels so that they can protect their own profitability. So in the symbiotic relationship between dealer and OEM, I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of very, very tough conversations around how do both parties remain sustainable, yet deliver a competitive customer experience, which probably leads me to the last area of disruption is who owns the customer. And the OEM or franchise or manufacturer out there that is quickest able to own that customer, understand that customer, and able to, more importantly, start predicting their needs will be the winner. I think it's also recognized that the levels of loyalty towards brands, particularly with the millennials, is declining. And it's who understands me in the moment and is able to satisfy my need in the moment. So it's about the immediacy of the purchasing process and the experience that the customer is using. So the traditional 45-day cycle from sort of interest through to delivery, customers do their research online and so on and so on. By the time they get into the retail space, they've already been considering purchasing an alternative vehicle for 4 weeks odd. is the general experience out there. And then doing a couple of test drives, do this, do that. So the purchase cycle from intent all the way through to actual acquisition of the vehicle is about 45 days, but we're seeing that coming down constantly. And with millennials, it's far more functional, far less an emotional purchase, saying, what's in it for me?